Stacy?
Yes.
Yep. We are now live and streaming, so you can make me co-host, and then I'll be moderating the chat.
There you go.
There you go. We're all set now. We're just
All right.
waiting for the learners. Okay. I'll be in the background again. Enjoy your
Sounds
class.
good.
Yep.
This class is going to be just free flowing. I don't really have anything planned.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of ideas if nobody really talks.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So-
that's really that's more enjoyable when you don't really have any plans.
I think so, but it's
Yeah.
also hard when if nobody says anything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully they'll come with questions.
They do.
You have a dog?
Yeah, it's outside.
Aw.
And a cat. 2 cats.
Oh, here comes somebody. Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
How are you, Nelda?
I'm doing good.
Great.
Got some knee problems, but other than that, I'm okay.
All right. Diane, Ginger, Madge. I recognize you guys.
Hi, hello,
Hi. Welcome. Glad you're here.
thank you.
Amy, hi.
Hello.
Glad you could come. And Lori, glad that you made it. It's a little bit of a chilly Friday afternoon here in Pennsylvania.
Kind of rainy here in Michigan.
We're supposed to have rain. It hasn't started yet, but it is getting darker and the
Okay.
sky is clouding up a bit.
Where is this, Stacy?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. I've only been to Pennsylvania once, and that was for surgery.
Oh, that's not a good memory.
No. Philadelphia.
Okay.
Now I'm from Texas, so we have to drive a long way.
Wow, that is far. Hi, Cassandra. You're back. And Verna, hi there.
How you doing?
Hey, good. Good to see you.
You have a big weekend planned?
Nothing really planned. It's Mother's Day on Sunday, and I'll probably spend it with my daughter, and we'll have some dinner and just enjoy each other's company.
That's good.
Yeah. Hi, Martha. Glad you could join us. And Myrna, good to see you. Susan, hey, welcome. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
I hope I'll be able to say for the whole class, I had to drop my neighbor off at the doctor and I'm waiting for her to call me. And so
All right.
my face go, you know, I had to go to pick her up.
Well, just do what you can. Stay for as long as you can and enjoy the discussion.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll understand if you have to go.
There's no way that I could afford to get my car fixed. No.
Welcome, everyone. Glad to see everybody. Kind of off to a slow start. It feels like a lazy Friday afternoon. We have 17 people, 18,
It's like we're out of sync here.
18, 19 people are in. Welcome, everyone. This is going to be a question and answer time for open discussion. And I have a couple of ideas. If nobody has any ideas, I'll throw a few out there. But let me go ahead and get started with my welcome slides. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We have Lester with us from tech support. Lester is a TA with Get Set Up. If you have any issues with your audio or video or any other questions in general, you can reach out to Lester in the chat, directly in the chat. So here are my opening slides to get us going, Today's class is called Let's Talk Fitness. So welcome, everybody. I am your guide with Get Set Up, and my name is Stacy. If this is your first time here and your first time meeting me, I have a master's degree in counseling psychology, which I used for many years in the school system in Maryland. And along with that, in the mid-1980s, I got involved in the fitness business. And I started out as a part-time aerobics instructor. I got certified originally through the International Dance Exercise Association and then through AFAA, the Athletic and Fitness Association of America, and then as well through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. So I've maintained those fitness certifications as a group instructor and personal trainer since the mid-1980s. I've worked in all aspects of fitness, from teaching to sales, to management, as well as corporate fitness. And I even owned a fitness center briefly in the 1990s, which I absolutely loved, but was just not financially stable for me. I love fitness. I love everything about it. I like working with people who have questions and helping people get started. So I especially love that we have this community of adults on Get Set Up who are showing up every morning for my 8 o'clock fitness classes. And the only downfall about those classes is that I can't really answer your questions in real time and manage to teach the class. So that's why I set up this idea of having an open format question and answer time, so that hopefully if you have had some burning questions about things that I do in the morning, or maybe some specific questions about exercise or things you'd like to do, that you can share them with me during this time, and hopefully I'll have an answer for you. So Get Set Up is this wonderful training and educational platform that helps you learn all sorts of fabulous things, and it's peer-to-peer. So you're learning from people just like yourself, and we learn from one another. So I'm glad to see that you have your cameras on and we can see your smiling faces, because it makes us feel more connected and like a community. So if you're joining on our website by live stream, we welcome you. Glad you found us. Happy you're here. But remember, the best way to participate is to actually register, sign up, join us, and get registered for the class. And that way you can fully participate in the interactive nature of most of our classes. And you'll get the email after class that gives you some key takeaways and any other information the instructor or the guide would like to provide. And then it allows you to also provide feedback. Get Set Up is not paid to promote any specific products or services. If you would like a recording of this class, email help@getsetup.io. So here are some suggestions for what I thought we might do today. So ask me your questions. Ask about motivation and consistency. We could talk about goal setting. You might have questions about specific exercises you'd like to do or you've heard about or you wonder about. Trouble spots that you'd like to work on. Delayed onset muscle soreness, how you feel the day after or a couple days after if you've worked out a little bit too hard, what that means, how to avoid it, and how to treat it. You can ask me about bodybuilding versus muscle conditioning. What's the difference? What's right for you? And what is muscle toning? You could ask me about training for specific sports. Many folks in our age group take up golf, right? So is there anything specific that you would want to do if you were going to have some golf lessons? We could talk about that. Maybe you would like to learn more about improving your posture. Maybe you're interested in weight loss and you're wondering, is cardio or aerobic activity better? Or is weight training better for weight loss? And which is more effective? So these are, I'm not going to tell you what to talk about, but here are 10 ideas for you that if you're stuck with something and you don't know what to talk about, we can go back and talk about any of those things. What I cannot discuss is anything that would fall under the realm of a medical professional. I can't really talk about your specific diagnosis, and I can't really address rehabilitation or exercises to treat specific injuries and conditions. I can't make a diagnosis. Your knee hurts, your elbow hurts. Is it tennis elbow? Is it ACL? What is it? I don't know. I cannot address that. That is not my specialty. So as long as we understand those guidelines, we're going to just go ahead and chat. So throw out your questions.
Stacy, what about toning? Toning the arms? Because I have that fat that's hanging down and I need to know about how can I tone that up?
Yes, that's a great question. And I know a lot of people wonder about that. So toning means two things. And I wish I had some type of a blackboard. I have to look into that on Zoom. There must be something where I could sort of write and you could see it. Toning is two things. It's building the muscle and losing the fat. Now, what you're talking about with the underarm stuff is loose skin. Loose skin happens as we age, and there's unfortunately not a whole lot that you can do about it. Toning is not going to necessarily tighten up your loose skin, but some things will help it. So I do a lot of exercises in our strength training classes on Wednesday that work on the shoulders and the upper arms. So specifically for the back of the arm, this area here, you're going to want to work the triceps, which is that muscle on the back of the arm. We typically do 1 or 2 exercises to address the triceps. And I also do rotations like this, and we do little movements such as this, holding weights. Those are going to be your best bet for that to work that area. As for toning, there's a couple, as for the loose skin, there's a couple kind of out of the box things. I recommend you do your research. I'm not going to recommend, but I'm going to throw them out there and let you choose if any of these are good for you. One of them is called dry brushing. And you can look that up on YouTube and you can read about it. But it involves taking a natural haired brush, and before you step into the shower, you brush your body, your skin with long strokes. You brush from the outer extremities in toward the heart, making 4 or 5 strokes per area. What that helps to do is rejuvenate your skin by encouraging collagen growth underneath the skin. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing you can look into is fascia blasting for the fascia, which is connective tissue that lives under our skin. And again, that's a whole nother website. And if you Google fascia, which is spelled FACIA, I believe, or FASCIA, Google that with the word blasting. And there's a lady who's written a book about getting rid of cellulite, and she's got all kinds of YouTube videos. But I do know that one of the things they address is the tightening of the loose skin on the back of the arms. Cupping is another technique that can tighten skin in some areas. You might seek out a massage therapist or a chiropractor in your area who offers cupping. It's actually done for painful areas to rehabilitate sore muscles, to treat an injury, and it helps get rid of toxins in the body. But I do believe that it can also help tighten loose skin. So that's cupping. And finally, I would encourage you to look into, and again, this is really out of the box. I'm not recommending it. I'm suggesting you do your research. Intermittent fasting. So there's been a lot of talk about intermittent fasting, and there's a book about it. And a doctor that I follow, Dr. Jason Fung, who has written a book on intermittent fasting. What intermittent fasting does for your body is it encourages and increases the speed of cell turnover. Now, you know, that's something that happens normally in your body all the time, but I think as we get older, it really slows down. So if you do some intermittent fasting and you read about it, figure out if it's right for you. If you're underweight, it is not right for you. But intermittent fasting is it's the way our ancestors used to eat, really. And if you look into the idea that originally people would wake up and food wasn't available, so they had to go hunting. So it may have been hours until they were able to get a meal. Again, that's Dr. Jason Fung, Fung. He has YouTube videos that talk about it as well as books. Anyway, intermittent fasting involves eating during a specific window of the day. And during the time you're not eating, your body, it stimulates cell turnover. So that's a good thing. And that happens all over your body. So if you're really into the intermittent fasting, you may discover that the skin on your face looks better. Your neck might tighten up a little bit, and other things kind of heal themselves in your bodies. And now, again, I'm not recommending, I'm not a doctor. I find intermittent fasting fabulous, fascinating. And I'll be honest, you know, I don't have to lose any weight, but I do eat within a specified window. So I try to keep my eating within an 8-hour time period. So I might start eating at noon and finish up by 8 o'clock at night. And then I'm basically fasting for 16 hours. And during that time, I'm hoping that I'm experiencing this cell regeneration and that things are healing in my body. So I don't want to really get into that. I'm not a scientist that has investigated it. I can only do two things. I can tell you my own personal experience and recommend that you do the research. And I would suggest that you look at Dr. Jason Fung, F-U-N-G. It's really fascinating. He talks a lot about the keto diet and intermittent fasting, but he has a whole book called The Guide to Intermittent Fasting. So that's
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, I just kind of went off on a tangent there and I didn't mean to. Yes, Madge, I saw you waving your hand.
Yes, in the last class, you mentioned the medicine ball. What pounds did you recommend us to get?
As light as possible. My little ball is 3 pounds. I
The
love it.
medicine ball?
Pardon me?
Was that the medicine ball that's weighted?
Yes. The medicine ball is 3 pounds. Mine
Okay, thank you.
is
Thanks.
very lightweight. Yes, absolutely. Karen?
Hi. I used to golf a lot, maybe several years ago, and I'm in my mid-70s and I like to get back into it, but I do have some minor lower back issues. Can you recommend any exercises to help me out?
Do you have a specific diagnosis, or do you just sort of experience discomfort and pain from time to time?
Right, just that,
Okay.
yeah.
So one of the first things I recommend is that exercise where you lay on your back with your knees bent and do the butt lifts by just curling your hips up, just lifting very small, like maybe an inch off the floor, nice and tight.
What about these swing, I twist from side to side. Is there something I should strengthen so I won't hurt myself?
There's really sort of a conundrum. The strengthening exercises often aggravate the lower back. So when I am demonstrating in my strength training class, for example, good mornings and deadlifts, although we're doing them seated, the main part of your body that's working is the long muscles of the spine, the erector spinae, which run along parallel to each side of your spine, and they're doing that lifting. So you want to be very cautious that you don't tense those muscles, but these are great exercises that strengthen that area. Another exercise you can do, if you're able to get down on your hands and knees on the floor with comfort, and you can lift one arm at a time, that puts a little bit of tension into the upper back area. And then if you can lift your legs one at a time from the bent knee position to the straight leg position, not like a high leg lift, but just off the floor where you can begin to feel that tension in those long muscles of the back. These are exercises that will strengthen your back and therefore protect your lower back. The other thing to consider is your posture, making sure that your abdominal muscles are always tight so that you don't develop a sort of a sway back at the waist area. Like think about when you're pregnant and how that heavy belly pulls your back forward and results in low back pain, right? So likewise, if our posture has become out of alignment with an S curve where you're round shouldered and then sway backed at the waist, you're going to experience some of that. So the way to help that is with the exercises that improve your posture and strengthen the muscles of your back, always being careful that you don't work through pain and discomfort. You asked specifically about twisting, and the twisting exercises typically work actually your oblique muscles on either side of your waist. And anytime you strengthen that pelvic girdle, that the core muscles that go around your waist, that serves as like a back brace and provides support through that midsection.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I hope that helped.
It did. Thank you. You're doing a great job, by the way.
Thank you. I noticed that our TA posted a link for Dr. Fung in our chat too. So be sure and check that out if you were interested in more information along those lines. How many of you have trouble getting started in the morning and sometimes don't feel like showing up for class?
Not yet.
Oh, be honest. Of course you do.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Sandra, you're being honest. Thank you. Sabina, I'm sure every once in a while you don't feel like it. And here's my recommendation for those days. Just tell yourself you're going to do 5 minutes. Just do 5 minutes. And you know what? If you're not feeling it after 5 minutes, take a break.
Okay.
Not
Can I
everybody has to work out every day. Sometime you might just need the day off. Maybe your body wants to heal and relax for a day. I always tell people to listen to your body. So continue to do that.
So here's what happened this morning. I missed the last part of your class because a business call came in, and
Okay.
it really threw me off for the rest of the morning. So what I'm doing with you has become really, really important.
Oh,
It kind of, yeah, it lifts my spirits, and I think it puts a really positive twist to the day. You know,
I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you for sharing. I'm sorry that you missed a little bit.
Yeah.
You're going to have to figure out a way to bounce back, because, you know, it's true that when we get into a routine and something throws us off, it often can kind of put the rest of the day out of whack. And it would be good to figure out a way to avoid that. Maybe the message that you tell yourself is, hey, that call was important today, and I'll catch the next fitness class. And meanwhile, maybe I'll look to dance with Shirley later in the day on Get Set Up, or try the yoga with Christina.
or watch the tape and do it.
Or watch
You know,
tape. Yes.
I didn't think of it, but all week I have been out of sync. And that's because I missed your class on Tuesday. I had to go somewhere and I couldn't make the class. And for some reason, I have been so out of it. I've made it the rest of the week, but I'm still
Good.
And I'm saying, what's going on with me? Now I know what it is.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you like class.
You're doing a very good job,
Yeah.
really, to get us going in the morning
Yes.
Well,
and the
thank
rest
you.
of the day.
You know, it helps me get going too. That's the truth.
What causes the crunching that you may hear when you lifting? Now, one side I can hear it, but the other side I don't hear. You know, like that crunching in your back or whatever.
Let me address that, Cassandra. And then I noticed that Myrna has had her hand up. So I'm going to go to Myrna after you.
Okay. Okay.
So the crunching that happens in there is typically and most likely cartilage that has become dislodged from your years of use. It can also be some calcification that occurs in the joint, and it may possibly be telling you that you don't have the synovial fluid that lubricates your joints. You know, as we get older and everything dries up, so does that fluid in our joints. And that's why I do some of those exercises with very small movements to get that lubrication out of our joints and just kind of, you know, make things a little more smooth with the movement. So I may not know what causes your specific noises and crunches and grindings, but I always recommend that you don't work through those. If you hear that, don't keep going, but back off, make the movement smaller and more slow. So I hope that helps a little bit.
Okay, thank
Myrna,
you.
I know you've been waiting.
I agree with the other ladies who said about getting their day started with you, because I discovered you a few weeks ago and I really look forward to 7 o'clock in the morning. And I wasn't doing that before. So thank you for that. Now,
Well, you're welcome. I'm so glad you've decided to join our little community.
I try to make every 7 o'clock class.
Great.
I have arthritis in my knees. And I know I need to strengthen the ligaments and tendons around there because it feels much better. After I had your first class, really, I could walk downstairs and I said, hey, there's a difference. So what do I need to do to continue to strengthen that area?
So continue doing leg extensions. Remember, that's the seated exercise, starting with your knees bent at 90 degrees, and simply extend, or like I say in class, unbend your knee by extending your leg out to a straight or long position and then releasing it. That's probably one of the very best exercises. But you really do want to, at some point, address all of the muscles that surround your knee, including the calf muscles in the back of your leg, the anterior tibialis that runs down the front of the leg. So by strengthening all of the surrounding muscles, you are protecting the joint. Knees are very unstable. So you want to make sure those muscles that surround your knees are strong and that you're building them up. That would be my best suggestion for you. And another one completely out of the box. I'm just going to throw it out there. Again, you do your own research. Arthritis, the itis in any type of word means inflammation. So while arthritis is typically, you know, as we get older, everybody seems to experience some of this. It's an inflammation that occurs around the joint. I started a couple years ago taking turmeric as a supplement. It's turmeric. I have it on auto ship from Amazon. While I have not necessarily been diagnosed with arthritis, I was experiencing a weird feeling in my knees in the morning when I went down the steps. I felt almost like my knee, one or the other, on any given day was about to collapse underneath me. It was a weird feeling of being just unsure of the strength that I had in my leg. And I would find myself gripping the handrail as I'm going down the steps to make sure I didn't fall. And literally, and there wasn't really any pain associated with that, just this weird feeling that somehow something was going to collapse. Within a day or two of starting to take turmeric daily, I didn't have that. I just noticed I wasn't holding onto the handrail. I felt stronger. And now I take it, you know, on the regular, and I noticed that it helps with the weird things like if I bang myself and I say, oh, that's going to be a bruise, and then I take a little extra turmeric, it minimizes the bruising. So it truly is a powerful anti-inflammatory. Works for some people, does nothing for others. It is a natural supplement. It's somehow related to curry. So folks who have a diet that's high in curry normally are getting this. It's in a capsule if you're asking, but I think you can also purchase it in a powder. You can cook with it. You can make a tea with it. It's available in a lot of different formats. I've never heard of anyone to be allergic to it, but you know, there's always that risk. So again, I'm just tossing it out there. It's a thing. Do your research.
Thank you.
Make your decision.
Trader Joe's.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I hope it helps. Sabiha?
Trader Joe's have a turmeric shot. You know, here's a bottle. Can you see it? And I buy that, and you just drink it down.
Oh,
Wow, that's great.
okay.
Does it help you, Cassandra?
Yes, it does. Yes, it
Let's
really
see. Hold it
helps.
up. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. At Trader Joe's?
Trader Joe's.
Okay.
I've not heard of that, but then I don't have a Trader Joe's near me, so I'm going to have to look into that. Thank you.
Stacey,
Sabiha?
what class are you using the medicine ball in? Which class is that one?
I'm not using the medicine ball. I use the unweighted fitness ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
How do you use the medicine ball? Is it like a weight?
It is weighted, and it's used a lot in strengthening exercises, and it's kind of used in instead of a weight.
Oh,
it's a
okay.
little easier to hold, and people do a lot of twisting movements. For example, if you're seated on the floor and you're doing a crunch, instead of just coming up straight, you could just go side
to side
with that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You could go hand to hand like this. You
Okay.
can stretch it out around, and it's going to put that extra tension on your muscles.
Oh, okay. I have to look into
Thanks.
that.
Let me get Sabiha. She's been waiting.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I sit at a desk all day. So what can I periodically do that would help me to relieve the knees? And also, I feel like I've shortened the space between my hips and my knees. You know, it's like because I can't sit cross-legged on the floor anymore, which is a real issue.
So your hips have gotten tighter, and you can't sit in that cross-legged position like you used to.
Correct.
And I know you come to my classes. Do you do those hip stretches that we do on Fridays for the iliotibial band along the side of your hips, where you cross your legs
and the problem that I find with that is that I lose my posture when I'm doing it. You know, I'm not sitting up straight because I guess I don't have the core strength either.
Do it on your back. Do it in bed.
Okay.
So what you do is you make like the number 4 with your legs. One leg is straight, the other crossed over at the knee. Same thing we try to do in the seated position, you can do on your back.
Okay.
And then you're going to reach in between the crossed over legs in your thigh and just pull it a little bit toward you on the straight leg. You picture what I'm
Yeah.
showing you?
Yeah.
Fantastic. That would be my one recommendation. You know, the other one, there's so many stretches that you could just do, you know, in bed at night or on the floor if you're able to get down and back up on your back. Hamstring stretches with the straight leg, cross one leg over, straight over, bring it back up. Like in the other, were you in the class in front of this where we talked about the stretching bands?
Yes. Yes.
So that's one of the items that you can use to help guide if you're going to cross one leg, fully extended leg, crossing it over top of your body from a lying down position, crossing it over toward the floor, bringing it back up. You can use that band to help guide you so that you're not stressing your lower back when you bring that leg back up to the vertical position.
Okay.
I would recommend that. I know it's tough in a seated position, and I thought you were going to ask me about the shoulders and upper back because that's usually what bothers a lot of people. And maybe you want to look into that ball chair that I showed.
I'm definitely going to ask for a gift for the ball chair. Yes.
There you go. Fabulous.
Stacy, could I make one more recommendation for this lady? I mean, it might not be an option, but checking into a sit-stand work desk might be an idea. They make those desks now where you can change the level and you can actually stand up and work and change your position during the day rather than sitting all day long.
Right.
I think that's a great idea. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't even think about the standing desk. Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Madge?
Yes, I wanted to ask you, do you recommend a step? I don't know how to describe it, but you know, they're long and they're about like that. And then they have things you can build the height. Step up and down.
I have one over here.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
There, I put the light on.
Yes.
You can see it over here. So steps have very limited use. One would be for a step class. And I love step classes. I really do. They've sort of fallen out of favor. You know, certain kinds of fitness classes become trendy.
Yeah.
You know, like a basic aerobics class, or remember when there was jazzercise and Kalinetics and, you know, all these different types of things, and they're trendy. They come in and out. And step class was really popular in the 90s. And I loved a step class because it made you think about your coordination and you had to think about what comes next. And so you weren't really aware that you were huffing and puffing and panting away during this class because you were so focused on what comes next, step, kick, step, crossover, whatever it is.
I was more interested in it because I had total knee replacement, and that was one of the therapy was to step up and then, you know, and then step down the other side or step up and back down with the same foot. And I have a step, I've had it for years, but I just haven't pulled it out and tried it.
It's great for that. And it has an adjustable height.
Yeah.
So you could definitely do that. And the other use for the step is in weight training to do, like, for example, a one-legged squat where you're focusing on the muscles of one leg and you prop the other leg up on the step. So it helps you with balance, but it allows you to put the most muscle tension into your standing leg.
Oh, I'll try that because it builds muscle around the knee, right?
Yes.
That's what I want to continue to work on.
Make sure you have a chair or something handy to hold on to because it is a little bit of an off-centered, off-balance type position.
I will. Thank you.
Sure.
Stacy, let me ask you about walking. You know, when the virus came on, I used to walk a lot. And then I had to stop because I would be extremely stiff. I would stretch before I walk. I would stretch once I got back. And the doctor told me to stop doing the walking because the sidewalk doesn't give. You know, I need to go on something that's kind of cushiony, like a football field or something like that. So tell me something about that.
So walking, dancing, marching on concrete, very hard on the body. It seems like no matter what kind of shoes you have, that concrete is just so unforgiving. And so if the doctor is telling you that walking on that is not recommended for you, you're going to want to find a hardwood floor somewhere, like a nice gym where there's some give. Or what he was suggesting is like the track around a football or a soccer field is typically made out of a rubberized material that has a nice amount of give to it, but is a good flat surface. So it's not like you're going to trip and fall like if you were walking on a trail or in the grass where you don't know if there's going to be a divot or a lump, you know. So that definitely, I can understand that walking on concrete is really stressful and hard on the body. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. What else do we have? Anybody want to talk about building muscle, bodybuilding versus just, getting strong? Anybody into that? Want to talk about the benefits of aerobics versus weightlifting for weight loss? Myrna.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Which one?
Work strength training versus cardio for weight loss.
Versus cardio. Okay. So back in the day when I first started with fitness, we used to say, got to do cardio for weight loss, got to do really hard cardio. We got to do it for an hour. And as an instructor, I was trained, don't spend more than 10 minutes on the warm up because get these people's heart rate up there. And we learned how to find our target heart rate and our maximum heart rate. And then about 10 years into it, they said, no, for fat burning, work out at a moderate level. Don't work hard. And that was during the time when low impact aerobics became popular. And then instead of working out at 75 or 80% of our target heart rate, we were working out around 60% of your target heart rate. And then we were told, got to do it for 45 minutes. Longer is better. Just keep it at this kind of a low, moderate pace, but go for a long period of time. And then you're in the fat burning zone. That's what you want to be, fat burning zone. Well, now we've actually come around to determine, and you can see this if you look at runners in your neighborhood, maybe who are heavy and don't seem to make any progress, or people at the gym who they're taking multiple classes, they're working out, but there's no improvement. So what we have actually determined now after many years of investigating and science and research and so forth is that the best way to make a difference in your body so that weight loss can occur is to build muscle. The more muscle you have in your body, muscle requires more calories just to be muscle. So the more of the nutrients that you take in will be taken up by your muscle, by your lean muscle mass. Now, you don't have to be a bodybuilder to experience that. Most of us right here sitting in this room do not have any kind of muscles that are visible to anybody else. We don't have six packs. We don't have big biceps. We don't have massive quadriceps. But by increasing what we do have, you will make the most of the calories that you eat. Does that make any sense?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so my goal is to actually do a little more with my weights and resistance bands and those kinds of things rather than the treadmill.
Yes, good. So cardio, don't get me wrong, don't misunderstand. Cardio is beneficial for your heart. Everyone should do cardio so that you have some endurance. That's important as we get older. You want to be able to keep up with the grandkids. If your dog runs away, you need to be able to run the neighborhood, get after the dog without huffing and puffing and panting. But it's most likely not going to cause you to lose any significant amount of body fat. And that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about eliminating a high level of body fat and developing more lean body tissue or muscle mass. I hope that.
Okay, thank you.
Or absolutely.
Let me ask you one question. Muscle weigh more than fat, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's what I was gonna say, because I noticed when I look at myself in the mirror in the morning, you know, because I look at my body is kind of redefining itself, and I can see I see a waist, and I have waist here anyway, but I mean it's more defined. But I get on the scale and it's the same.
Okay. We got to get rid of the scale. My
Oh.
recommendation, this is my number one recommendation, and I'm only saying this because it seems like a lot of people are really attached to the number. I recommend that you get a scale that shows your body fat percentage. They have them at Bed Bath & Beyond. They have them on Amazon. I have a very old one. I think I purchased it in the early 2000s. The company is Tanita, T-A-N-I-T-A. It was very inexpensive and the darn thing still works. And I feel like I haven't replaced a battery in over 5 years and it still keeps ticking away. So the important data that you want is not weight, it's body fat percentage. What you want to see as a woman is that your body fat percentage is less than 30%. We tend to get a high level of body fat. Normally, that's the way we're built. It protects ourselves, but we don't need to let that get out of hand. So let's go back to muscle weighs more than fat. The same size piece of fat. Let's imagine a big glob of fat. If I had a big glob of fat, the size of my little clock here, and a big pile of muscle the same size as my clock, the muscle will weigh more. But that's not what's important. What's important is that you want to get rid of the big glob of fat and know that a small piece of muscle will weigh the same as a big glob of fat. So we're kind of comparing apples to oranges here when you talk about muscle and fat. They're two different kinds of tissues. And while the same size piece of fat is less in weight than the same size muscle, you're not going to develop muscles the same size as your fat. Muscles will be smaller. So yeah, it's great. Arnita, one of the other pieces of data that's important is with a measuring tape. Measure your waist and your hips and your bust and around your biceps and your thighs, your upper thighs. You know, you can Google how to take measurements for weight loss and take a look at that. And then you're really going to see body changes. If you're brave enough, take a picture of yourself in a bathing suit or in your workout gear that's tight fitting and look at the changes that will occur.
I look at myself in the nude every day in the mirror, so.
You're brave. Good.
Oh yeah, I'm very uninhibited, so I don't have a problem.
Good for you. So you're really seeing what's happening. And yes,
Right.
don't get really hung up on that number on the scale, but start looking at fat percentage. There's a lot of different brands out there of scales. The one that I mentioned, someone asked in the chat, the one that I mentioned is Tanita, T-A-N-I-T-A. All it does is give me my weight and my body fat percentage. And that's really the number that I'm more looking at, is my body fat percentage. But there's a lot of different scales out there that will do similar things. There's even a new one that I have gotten and I'm still learning about, that's called Fit Track. And that gives me all kinds of stuff like the mass of bones that I have, and I can't even tell you. Hydration, it tells me how much hydration is in my body. So I'm still really learning about the Fit Track scale. But just look for one with body fat percentage and take your measurements. Leslie, unmute.
Yep. All right, here I am.
Okay.
So a couple things. One is I appreciate the fact that in a lot of your classes, it isn't a big deal, you know, lifting big weights and things like that. I tend to get injured very easily. And so the little things, I'm looking for things that that I'm less likely to hurt myself, like isometrics and things like that.
Good.
So, and that's kind of hard to find. You know, most, you know, things that you see online are, you know, big deal weightlifting or, you know, exercise bands and things like that. Some of those are okay, but it's hard to find those sorts of things. So, is there a good source of information for that? That's number one. Number two is I have two of those big balls that you sit on, and both of them need air. And it's been that way for a while. And, you know, at one point I walked into a gym and they filled it for me, but then after the COVID, I, you know, didn't go into gyms anymore. So do you have something around the house, you know, that you know, fill up these balls with?
Yes, one of my newer, and I don't have it down here, it's upstairs. My smaller
filling station or?
The smaller fitness balls came with a little pump.
Not the big ones that you sit on or that you exercise with.
The big one did not come with its own pump. I had a friend fill it with me. I think a bicycle pump would work if you have a little portable bicycle pump at home, or if you have a friend with a bicycle pump that could help you out. And in terms of isometrics, I don't really know of a good source for isometrics. I understand what you're saying. I just would recommend that you do smaller movements with lighter weights to avoid injury, and perhaps look more into some of the videos that show the use of the resistance bands.
Okay.
Okay. I hope that helps. I have somebody with their hand up that doesn't have a name. iPad Air.
Yes. My question is a body fat percentage the same as a BMI?
No, they're different. And I can't tell you off the top of my head right now. There's a calculation for BMI. It's body mass index is your BMI. It's a different set of numbers. That is a great question. And I'm terribly sorry I'm not prepared to answer that one right now.
Okay.
Yeah, the body fat percentage is really just the percentage of body fat versus lean body mass in your body. That includes your bones and your muscle tissue and your organs, and only the fat is identified. Okay. Yes, Madge.
I would like to know if the weightlifting class, strengthening class on Wednesday, is it okay if we stand to do those exercises if we would like to? I mean, I know there's
It is okay if you stand. Absolutely. Many of them actually originated as standing exercises like deadlifts and good mornings, and the shoulder work can all be done standing. I have simply adapted it because I know that we have a lot of people who prefer to stay in the chair, or their mobility is somehow compromised, and I'm just trying to reach everybody. So yeah, that's a great question and a good suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys, we have about 8 minutes left. If anybody has any pressing final questions, anything at all that you want to throw out there. I'm just going to go back once again to the scale. Body fat percentage is more important than the weight on the scale. That's really what will change your body. If I didn't make that really clear and emphasize that, we as women are looking for changes in our body. Like Arnita said, she's noticing more of a waistline. We would all like to have more of a waistline. And you're only going to see that by the change in body fat percentage that you will see on the scale, or if you're using a measuring tape and you track those measurements, or take some photographs so you can really compare, be brutally honest and see what it is that you're looking at. So thank you guys. I'm going to go ahead and share my closing screen for the final few minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Good class.
You're welcome. I hope that helped.
Surely does.
It was a good class.
So thank you again. Thanks so much for coming. Remember that you can share your experience with class, share photographs and any other feedback on social media by using the hashtag #GetSetUp, @GetSetUp, or email Liz directly. If you're not a fan of social media, you're not active there, no worries. You can email Liz directly and share your information with her. Look for some related classes that will get you moving, like Ageless Grace, line dancing, and yoga classes that are all available on the Get Set Up website. My next classes next week on Monday, I have core training, which is a seated class. Tuesday is Let's Get Moving. Wednesday is seated strength training, and Thursday is fitness combo. Be on the lookout for the email that you will receive that will contain some notes from class. Actually, I don't have notes for this class, but there will be some other classes highlighted that you may want to try. And there will be a link where you can provide feedback. This class and the one before it about fitness equipment, it's my first time doing this. So I really kind of use this as a launch point. From here, I will develop a document that can be sent out. So I'll remember little things to include, like muscle and fat and body weight scale suggestions and a BMI calculator and the links to Dr. Fung's books and a couple things like that. So if those questions come up, I will have them, but I think I teach this again in 2 weeks. So every other Friday, I take the day off, and on those days, I'll devote it to adding some classes here on Get Set Up. So that's the plan, and I apologize for not having a document for this class to respond to those things that we talked about, but I'll try and get that in the future for when I teach again. You can invite a class, invite a class. It's my 4th class, I'm sorry. Invite a friend to come and take a class with you on Get Set Up. And if you're on a desktop computer, good grief. If you're on a desktop computer, this is what it's going to look like. So you'll see this screen and you'll click on Invite a Friend, and that'll take you to the next screen where you can put your friend's email address here and then click the orange tab and a link will automatically be sent to your friend. And if you're on a mobile device, it's going to look like this. This is the important email that you want to remember or write down or screenshot it. It's right here. Email help@getsetup.io if you want a recording of today's class, if you want to host an interest group, if you have an idea to share about a class that you would like to see, if you have an organization you're involved with that you would like to share with us or share us with them, let us know. Email help@getsetup.io. Once again, I thank you so much for your comments and suggestions and your questions. It's been a great day. I hope I shared a lot of good information and you got something out of it. Bye, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend.
You
You
too.
too.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, Stacy.
Wish
Bye.
Thank you.
You're
everybody a
welcome.
happy Mother's Day. Happy
Oh,
Mother's Day.
thank you.
everyone.
Happy Mother's Day
Happy
to all
Mother's
you who
Day.
are mothers today. Thank you for that reminder. Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.